You are tuned in to Stewart Spotlight Podcast live with your host, William Stewart Jr. with topics of everyday life. Tune in every Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Live streaming on Facebook and YouTube. Today's guest, Madison Smith. One-year missionary intern. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy another episode. Now your host, William Stewart Jr. Good evening and welcome to Stewart Spotlight Podcast. My name is William Stewart Jr. and I am your host this evening. I hope everyone had a wonderful week and preparing yourself for the weekend as usual. Today is Friday, August the 8th already. My, time's flying around here. Before you know it, it'll be Thanksgiving, Christmas, another new year. But that's okay. I have a very exciting guest on this evening, and Madison Smith. She was on the program one time last year, and I think this is going to be very interesting. And she's a very intelligent young lady, and she's going to be going away for a year doing missionary work for her church, as well as herself, getting herself educated and experience and stuff like that, but we're going to bring her on. But you know, this is the time right now where I'm asking for your help. Now you're asking me, how could I help you? I'm glad you asked. You can do this. I need your support. I need you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and make sure you turn on your notifications. So therefore, every time you hear this, you know that Stewart Spotlight Podcast is live. Yes, that's right. Make sure you turn on all your devices. So when you have that notification on, and on your computer, laptop, or whatever, you'll get that notification that you know Stewart Spotlight is on live. And give us some feedback. Leave a comment leave a message in the comment. You know what I was talking about. Leave a message in the comment. Let us know. Give us your feedback on how you're enjoying the service. Oh gosh, I'm thinking I'm in church. How you enjoying the episode? But anyway, I have a message this week, again, as usual. This is a good message. I read these messages once a week, and a dear friend of mine is always sending me these motivational messages, but this is a good one. It says, on my bad days, I seek you. On my good days, I thank you. On my great days, I praise you. But every day, I need you. Thank you, God, for always being here for me. Wow, that is deep. That is really, really deep. Let that marinate in your soul a little bit, and that's a good message. Thank you, Bud, for sending me that message. As I stated before, today we have a special guest, Madison Smith, 1-year missionary intern, global mission, a global mission. We're going to tell you where she's going for 1 whole year, and she needs your support. After this break, we're going to come back with my guest. Stay tuned. Hi, my name is William Stewart Jr. I'm the host of Stewart Spotlight Podcast. How would you like to be a guest on my show? If you have gone through something, came out of something, and just want to share it, we would love for you to be a guest to discuss any topic related to your situation. Your insight of experience, wisdom, knowledge would be invaluable to our viewers. Who knows? By sharing could help someone who may gone through what you came out of. Sharing is caring. So give us a call, 888-552-1944, so we can schedule you on the next Stewart Spotlight Podcast. Yes, that's right. Make sure you give us a call if you want to be my special guest and just share some of your wisdom and knowledge that can be invaluable to others. As I stated before, my guest today, my guest today is Madison Smith. Without further ado, let's welcome my guest today. Madison, welcome to the show. How how you doing?
Great. It's so good to be here. I feel so happy that I'm like back on the show.
I'm
I'm
so
really
glad.
thankful that you
I'm
have me here.
yes, I'm
Yeah.
glad you came back on the show. I remember just last year you was on here. You was very. I got a lot of reviews from you from being on the show last year. So, what was your feedback on the show last year?
Last year, it was honestly my first time on a podcast, and
Uh,
it was such a blessing to be able to, yeah, just track like how it was doing, but also to be able to talk about the things that, was on my heart and have a space to just share that with others. I'm glad that I got such good feedback and that people were receptive to what I had to say. So,
so
yeah.
give us some feedback of what happened last year to now. What have you been doing?
Yeah, so this past year, I have been finishing up college. I am a Wellesley College alum now, actually. And so I'm very thankful that although the year was like really hard with like just, academics and
Right.
working and, all that stuff, I was still able to come out like with the degree. So yeah, this past year, I've been working, I've been doing my degree, I've been serving in my church, of course. And that is exactly why I'm here right now, because I've had such a supportive community behind me to,
Mhm.
yeah, just help me prepare for this next step.
Oh wow. So now, what was your degree in?
I got a degree in creative writing.
Creative writing.
Yeah.
Wow. I should have had you on my show then, helping me out with my podcast. So I'm sure that your mom and your grandmother is very, and your sister is very, and your dad is very proud of you.
Yes, I have such a supportive family who
Hmm.
have been celebrating me as I've been back at home. And
Hmm.
even as I'm leaving now, they have been, yeah, just consistently just sharing their support and sharing how proud they are of me. So, yeah.
Wow, wow. So now, once you graduated, what did you do after that?
So, post grad, I have been just spending time with my church. They have been so hospitable to me, and they have been actually giving me a place to stay while I'm out here in Boston,
Hmm.
training with them, and yeah, just learning more about what it's like to be on staff at a church,
Hmm.
because the work that I'm getting ready to do does require me to have a little bit of competency at least in being able to, yeah, just support the church and serve the church however they need me to.
So now let's talk about now you're about to depart for one whole year. So share with us where you're going and what is your mission when you get there.
Yeah, so I have felt a call to 1 year missions by the Lord. I was originally planning to do a master's degree like right out of undergrad, but
Uh-huh.
I think it was clear to me like halfway through my last year that God had other plans for me. And I'm totally okay with that. At first I wasn't, but I think the more God kind of ministered unto my heart about like how much he loves his church, how much he loves like his people, and he desires to, yeah, bring everyone back to him. That like my heart was softened to the fact that he desires me and desires his people anyway to be able to share his love with those who have yet to know him.
So
And so, yeah,
so now
but
so where are you going?
I'll be going to Jakarta, Indonesia,
Mm.
and this was not a decision, or this was not a place that I had previously picked for myself. But yeah, as I kind of grew in, yeah, just my desire to go wherever God sent me, they chose Jakarta for me. And so I will be going to Jakarta for a year to, yeah, just serve the people of the city and to also spread the gospel to those who have yet to know him. If you guys don't know, Indonesia is actually the largest Muslim country in the world. And
Hmm.
so there is a bit of spiritual oppression against the name of Jesus, which of course we expect that anywhere we go. But I think it's clear that God is at work right now in Jakarta. And so the missionaries who are there currently have decided that, like, by the grace of God, they are able to, yeah, plant a church there. And so by the Lord's leading, they have been diligent in, yeah, scouting out the land and praying over his,
Mhm.
yeah, people
So
so that
this
he will move. Yeah.
so this is going to be totally new for the church, as
Yeah.
well as bringing people over there to ministry.
Right.
Wow. So that's a big challenge there, Madison.
Yes, this is a brand new church plant. So I'll be part of the starting team and we'll be doing this by ear.
Hmm.
We're very prayerful and we have actually a team of locals who have, yeah, they were in communication with the missionaries there. And so they have been working together to kind of figure out how to get this started. And so we're very thankful.
So now, how long have this plan been in existing?
Actually, yeah,
Go ahead.
it's only been 5 months.
5 months. 5 months, and you're going overseas.
Yeah.
Now, isn't it true that in Indonesia is a third world country?
I believe it is, but I think it's in Jakarta a little bit more developed. It's a mega city.
Okay.
And so that part of Indonesia is the part that I'll be serving in.
Okay.
However, we also have a location in Pekanbaru that's already been established for years. That actually the missionaries came from that location and moved to Jakarta to see what God was doing. But we will be going there for a month during that year to help serve the orphanage that's out there.
Okay. So give us an example of what is your mission? What is your mission to serve? What are you going to be doing over there?
Right. So over there, we'll be reaching out to the local communities, the local, schools, the young adult people who are working, and just people around our age who have yet to know Jesus. We
Hmm.
have like a good idea of who we're reaching out to because we know that because Jakarta is a hotspot for like work and a hotspot for, yeah, just growth in the business industry, that it will be people who are highly like into like intellectual culture and hopefully into like growing in their careers. So, we desire to reach out to those who have more of a desire to, build that community where it's less prominent. And so, yeah, I don't know if that gives you a better idea
So
of like
now,
who we're,
so
yeah.
comparing to what you did last year versus this year, is there a big difference or is similar?
I think it's actually pretty similar because AMI, which is the organization I'm working under, their goal is to reach out to people in our age group
Okay.
because we believe that this age group is the time that, you usually decide whether or not you want, to take up a faith for yourself. If this faith that you have is important to you, or if you feel as though there's a different thing that is like more pressing on your heart.
Now
And so
you mentioned, not to cut you off, you mentioned in your age group. What age group are we talking about?
So it would be around ages like 18 to 35.
Okay. And then what
Yeah.
about after 35? Is there a different rules and a policy that you must do after 35?
No, I think honestly, as like our because we know that we are in that age group,
Hmm.
it becomes easier to reach those who are like in our age group. However, we are not like kind of cutting it off at that. We're just a little bit more cognizant of who we might be more able to, communicate easier with. I
Okay.
think because like we're working under missionaries who are like above the age group anyway, we do have people who are able to, yeah, just shepherd over like
Hmm.
those who are out of our target age group as well. But yeah, we are open to wherever God is like leading us, and if God brings people who are like in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, then glory be to him.
So
But
now, how were you picked? So who picked you to go? Because I'm sure that there's among other they could have went, but how were you picked?
so AMI, which is like the church community that my church is underneath, every year they send out interns and they have applications for if you want to join the 1 year missionary intern program. And I signed up for that. They give us an option to like think about whether or not we have preferences to like where we want to go, but they don't usually like pay too much heed to it. They just kind of pray over it and see like where God might be leading them to like send us. And so it depends on like which countries are open. It depends on like what we're suited towards, if we have special skills that might help like in the particular mission that is at work in certain countries. And so yeah, they usually choose for us.
So now, what is your special skills?
I think it's actually quite funny because I don't have many special skills. I'm just open and willing to learn. I'm open to anything and I'm not too picky. I just desire to serve God. And I believe that like that was kind of similar amongst my cohort of interns. They of course have their like peculiar skills or like their small skills that can be useful, but overall we all just wanted to serve the Lord and we weren't necessarily picked for a specific skill we had. I feel like they kind of looked at mostly like what God might be leading them to choose for us.
So
I
now,
guess.
did you have a mentor who you looked up to, and you know like, oh, I just really amazed. I'm just so amazed by this person and his ministry and how he does different things or how she does different things. Have anybody in mind?
I think a
Not to
few people come to
not to
mind.
put you on the spot. Okay.
Yeah, I think a few people come to mind because I feel as though in my church, there is the college community and the young adult community. And in the young adult community, there are so many people who are just willing to serve. They don't necessarily have like this idea of my life is more important, but they have this belief that like if there's a need, then that's what they will like focus on. They focus on the building up of the body. And to be around brothers and sisters like that, who are so willing to serve our own community, who are willing to set aside the things that, they might, I guess, prize rather than like, just go after whatever they want to go after because it's convenient to them. I think that's something that I kind of took into my own heart when they were just constantly showing that, it's not about them, but it's about the church. And so I would say it's not necessarily one person, but it's definitely a community of people that I've kind of come in contact with in my
So
own church.
so now, how many individuals of your age group is actually going over there?
So we have a total of 2 people, me and my co-intern, Jordan, who are going to Jakarta. But my whole cohort is aged around like 18 to 35, and there are about a total of 15 of us.
Now, you said Jordan. Are we talking about your sister?
Funnily enough, no. My co-intern's name is Jordan.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering. I was just throwing that out there because I was like, Jordan? Okay. So therefore, it's about 15 of you guys are actually going, and I'm sure that's a very expensive uh, trip, and to stay for a whole year. Who is picking up the tab for this big expense?
Yeah, missionary work is full-time ministry. And so we, as missionary interns and the missionaries themselves, have to fundraise and, reach out to the local body and even the global body to, garner support and partnership financially because our focus will be on ministry the whole time.
Right. So now, give us an example. What is your vision when you get over there? I know you're trying to reach the age of 18 to 35, but what is your vision per se?
So my vision simply is to be an aid to the missionaries who are there. They desire, like in a church startup, I feel like there are a lot of different things that, are needed. And because there's going to be a lot of like different tasks and responsibilities to make missionaries' work a lot more simple. As interns, we believe it's our duty to serve them first because they're the ones who are serving the body most more like as leaders than the missionary interns. They have already delegated a few tasks to us, which is like, serving as a small group leader, which means like leading devotionals and, teaching and things like that. And then we're also going to be doing outreach to certain communities to, though we're not allowed to share the gospel as like, or at least out loud as foreigners, we are allowed to build relationships with people and in our own time be able to share the gospel with them. And so my own goals are to be able to share the gospel with like a few people who are like in my path as I grow in ministry.
This is 7 days a week. Is this every day in the
Yeah.
in the ministry? Really? So when do you have time for yourself?
Well, we don't think that like during these next few months is going to be a lot of time to ourselves, but every day it's our goal to like if God is leading us somewhere to go out and do that, and go out and make relationships.
Right.
I don't think it's as much of a like burden as it sounds because we know that like this is our honor to be in fellowship with people, to share the love of God with others. But aside from like the fact that we do have a busy schedule, we know that it's important to rest. And so we are like sure at least that we'll
So
have time to
so so
ourselves.
so you're geared up like, okay, this is gonna be a 7 days, 365 days a week job. Mission, I should say, a mission to share the gospel with individuals from 18 to 35.
Yeah, I think even though like it's 7 days a week, 365, I don't think it's like as intense as it
Yes,
sounds
I know.
because
I was just throwing that out there. I was just throwing that out there.
I think we're just like always aware that there is
Right,
something we can be doing
right,
rather than
exactly.
it
So
being
my question is, are
rigid.
you going to be able to have time to explore the city and see other things and see how they live and the culture behind uh, that particular area?
I think, yeah, definitely.
Wow.
We are going to be culturally immersed. And so I think part of our job is to understand the culture we're in. We
Hmm.
can't, minister to people slash like, build relationships with people if we're holding up barriers
Hmm.
by like keeping our own culture and like, being very stubborn about like learning. So
Okay.
a big part of our job, of course, will be to like get used to the culture, explore a little bit, understand like who we're ministering to,
Hmm.
etc.
Now, by going over there, do you have to take certain shots uh, medically? How many shots you have to go through just to go over there?
So thankfully, the shot requirements are very similar to in the US. However, there are a few that are recommended because like mosquitoes, they carry a lot of different diseases and it's even more
Wow.
scary over there. And so like dengue fever, Japanese encephalitis, like a few different like vaccines are recommended in order to prevent different like complications arising from the bugs that usually are very common around there. But
So when you get ready to come back, you got to go through this whole stream screaming again that in order to come back to the U.S.
probably we'll see. I'm not too certain what that
Oh
will look
wow.
like coming back.
Okay. Now, do you know the population over there? How many in that particular city?
I think I'm actually not sure.
Okay.
I think it's a couple, like a few million, like a
So
few
therefore,
million.
your group is going to be going to different areas in ministry.
We're going to be mostly based in Jakarta, but
Okay.
we will go to
In in
Pekanbaru and maybe,
the surrounding
yeah.
areas, right? Okay. Wow. Okay. Madison, stay with me for a moment. We're going to take a small break, and we're going to come back to continue about this. So this is really interesting because we're going to talk about what you did in the past versus what you want to be doing now over there. Stay with me. We'll be right back. And we are back with Madison Smith, who is going to be going overseas to do some missionary work. So, as I stated before, now, when you went, where did you go last year?
Last year I went to Taiwan, Taipei, Taiwan to be exact.
Now, how long were you there?
I was there for only 10 days.
10 days. Now, comparing 10 days for a whole year, how do you think you're going to adjust? Because, okay, 10 days can go by real fast, but now a whole year. How you feel about that?
Yeah, I have. Honestly, that's like the part that I'm quite like worried about. I've heard from another one of my missionary friends that like the adjustment period for her was a few months, like a couple of months before she could get used to like this rhythm of like living in a different country. And so I'm certain that like the adjustment period will be quite intense and quite like it will need some type of no grace for it because yeah, it's
And
going to be a year, and
and
so I have to get used to things.
and leaving your family behind?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that was something that I actually cried about that for a good minute because
Uh-huh.
it was something that was weighing on my heart a lot. I didn't want to leave after thinking, like, after graduation, I spent like a week home. And during that week home, I was kind of really understanding what it meant to be gone for a year. Yes, being over there and adjusting will be hard, but, the people that I'm leaving behind is also something that, weighs on me. Like, there's so much I'm going to miss in 1 year. And I think that's something that I just had to settle with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be able to be there for everything.
Right.
And even more so, it's not about like, me, what I want. It's more so about like, this is a job that I'm doing. It's basically something that I signed up for.
I,
And so,
yeah, I trust me, I understand it. I was just trying to figure out, by being away for a whole year into another world, how challenging that's going to be for you. Now,
yeah,
you are how old?
I am 22.
22, going away for a whole year to another
Yes.
whole different world.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So, give us some insights. How would you, okay, if a person wants to contribute, what should they do? Because I believe I've got something up on here that if they wanted to donate, they could make a donation there to your particular page, and explain that a little bit.
Yeah, so currently I'm looking for financial partners. And if you go to the page right here, you will be able to, yeah, see both like a bio and some prayer requests, but also there will be giving links at the bottom. And if you click the Give to Maddie link, you'll be able to contribute to the mission. And yeah, that would be something that goes a long way no matter what you contribute. But
Wow.
yeah,
Wow, that's interesting because, as you stated before, the church is picking up a lot of this, but you still need the financial for things.
yes.
I'll just leave it at
So in total, I'm supposed to be raising 17.5K, and the church was very generous in covering a lot of it. However, there's still like about 4 or 5K for me to like pick up. So
Wow.
I am still looking for some supporters slash partners in this mission.
So, what about food over there? How is your body going to adjust to their food versus American food?
Yes, that's also something that is quite concerning for me. For
Uh-huh.
one, we know that like it takes our body some getting used to like get used to the food, the different bacteria, things like that.
Right.
That's common in a different country.
Right.
But the seafood is also really common in Indonesia. And fun fact, I don't like seafood. And so this
So
is
far
going to
for
be
that.
something that takes a minute for me to get used to.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel like God will provide. I'm praying that God will provide. I'm very hopeful about
Wow.
that because, yeah,
Yeah.
He
Sometimes you
sent me here, so He's going to have to.
sometimes you can't go wrong with chicken, but then again, over there you might go wrong with chicken. So now, how is your mother preparing for this?
Mm. Honestly, she's been so supportive despite like her feelings on the matter.
Uh huh.
I think she's been like quite sad because I've been gone for 4 years for college, basically,
Uh
barely
huh.
home. And now I'm going away for an entire year with like no leeway to go back.
Right.
I'm not going to be visiting her during that time. And
Right.
so, like, she's not too thrilled about that, but she's also like, I'm not going to stand in between like the work God has for you.
Hmm.
And so she's been doing things like finding different ways to celebrate me going and helping out with the fundraising and reaching out to people and like kind of garnering support for me. And so she's been honestly like such a integral part to me like being able to do this.
Wow. What about your grandmother?
She's also been really supportive but also quite sad that I'm going. She never like fails to say how much she loves me. Like she
Uh,
is very forward about that. And so like she shows it a lot in the way that she also like supports me both financially and through like sharing with others and
uh,
trying to, garner support from you. So I've been very thankful and very, yeah, just blessed by the people who are behind me.
and your sister?
I think she's honestly just been a friend during this time. She's not like for it or against it. She's like, you know what? Cool. I'm glad that you're doing this.
Wow.
And so, I think we're just close like that where she's not like overly concerned, but she's also not like uninterested. So I'm
Right.
very glad that she has just a very cool attitude about it.
Wow. Okay, well, give us some encouraging words before we depart. Because I know you're on a mission to do the work of the Lord and going over to another country. And I know it's upon your heart to do what has God sent you over there to do. But how? Give us something that people would, you know, understand.
Mm. Well, I think it's actually quite funny because something that I was able to read beforehand that was honestly an encouragement to me because like this was actually like the verse that God showed me like before my first missions trip. It was Romans 5 verses 5 to 6. And I'm just going to share these verses because these verses kind of put into perspective the type of life we're called to live as followers of Christ. And these verses say, and hope does not put us to shame because God's love has been poured into our hearts through the Holy Spirit who has been given to us. For while we were still weak, at the right time, Christ died for the ungodly. For one will scarcely die for a righteous person, though perhaps for a good person one would dare even to die. But God shows his love for us in that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. I think this whole Romans 5, verses 5 to 7, 5 to 8, it talks about just the love of God and how, like, even though we were sinful, even though we were ungodly, he proved that, like, while we were yet enemies, he still loves us. And even though we suffer, it's not because of a lack of love, but it's because like we are in fellowship with Christ. And so we have hope through our suffering. And I think all of our testimonies, all of our journeys to him and, even with him, they're all to bring him glory. And so just a reminder that, hope does not put us to shame as fellow believers. And, God is with us in every season. So, yeah.
You couldn't have said it no better. You couldn't have said it no better, no clearly than that. I appreciate you coming on, and I wish you the very best. And I pray for your success, your strength, and your safety as you make this journey that is put upon your heart to do. So I want you to come back after that year to give us some updates of what you went through, what you experienced, and how was it over there serving? How was the people over there? I just want to hear it all. So we're gonna dedicate a whole program just to hear about what happened overseas.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
All right. Well, you take care and you be safe and make sure you keep in contact with me. Okay.
Yes, of course.
All right.
All
You
right.
take
Thank
care.
you for having me.
No problem. That was Madison. Madison Smith. It goes back several years when she was much younger, and I think I had promised to take them out for her and her sister out for some ice cream, but I'm not gonna say that right now because I still owe them ice cream. But shh, don't say a word. I know they're watching it, but as I stated before, I pray for her safety, and pray for the journey to be a success. What is God had put upon her heart to do. Before we depart, I brought up this one scripture that I want to share with the viewers and as well as Madison. It comes from Psalms 121:8. The Lord would watch over your coming and going, both now and forevermore. That's for you, Madison. Please keep in contact. Until we meet again, everybody have a nice and safe weekend, and God bless.